Hello and welcome back to the Vault of Horror. I'm one of your hosts, Grant, and here's the other lovely host, Dan. Hi Dan, how you doing, mate?
Hello. Yeah, I'm alright, mate. Yes, thank you very much. Yourself?
Yeah. Well, I was good.
Mm.
I was very good.
Yeah.
I think people possibly may know that my mood never really is in a good place when anybody mentions this lovely 2001 horror movie that seems to have a lot of love. Yeah, I will never, ever understand why. Some people have described this film as giving people headaches. I describe it as a foul-smelling piece of shit. So, without any ado, this is Thir13een Ghosts. Because that is the fucking title replacing.
Thir13 Ian.
Ghosts.
Ian. Yeah, Ghosts. Yeah.
Pretentious. So basically we have 13 Ghosts, and before we move on, I'd just like to point out that we are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Please like our videos, share them. Share them if you're enjoying them, share them if you're really not and want to ruin somebody's day, because they might like us. And we can promise that we're far more entertaining than 13 Ghosts. So, Dan, it is an old film.
Yeah.
But it's not as old as some of the films we've watched. Classic. So going back in time, you would have been a young man, an adult at the time. So what was your first experiences with this film?
Well, I was always a fan of Scooby-Doo, and I really sort of like having Vincent Price appear. I wouldn't never bother about Scrappy or Flim Flam, but I thought having Daphne and Shaggy and Scooby there was a different dynamic, not having Fred and Wilma there, and just this 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo just really just entertaining.
Oh, Dan, I think you've got the wrong film.
What are we on about?
This is Thir13een Ghosts.
Not of Scooby-Doo.
No.
Oh, fuck.
You'll get to soon wish it was the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo.
I already do. To be honest, mate, I don't. All I remember is it's very vague. Normally, I'm quite good at recalling where I was when I first saw things, but I remember it being on in the background, phased in and it phased out. I think I was probably 23, 24. Yeah. Never sat through the entire thing, but I remember the bits that I had seen being glad that I hadn't sat through the entire thing. So it's only really recently, watching it for this, that I'd seen it properly all the way through. And I won't be watching it again.
Yeah, it's incredible that, again, I know I've said this, but it's incredible from people we know to people watching a few reviews online to see, the reaction that people have, given the film, and the audience reaction. People actually really do feel
they love it. Yeah,
they've got an affinity with it and stuff.
I mean, I'll go through do my due diligence, and when we come to doing the pros and cons, my pros list will probably be small, but I will give it a fair crack. Cause I think it's like we do with everything. I think it's only fair to judge it. I said fairly and that, but it's not going to go well.
Well, my studying media, a mutual friend of ours, Richard, me and him managed to score tickets to watch 13 Ghosts, to give it a review for the college. And we had a bit of a private screening, and we also, God bless them, had a class of special educational needs young people there. And all I remember is thinking this film is just fucking terrible. And I remember halfway through the film, one of those special needs young guys stood up and went, "This film is fucking bullshit," and pointed out one of the plot holes in the film, and I was just like, "God bless you, sir. God bless you." That's my biggest memory, is somebody else joining in the hate. So I think for people that have not watched it, or to jog memories, I think that the film is it's about a very wealthy man that dies and leaves his inheritance, his life's work, which is a big glass rotating moving monstrosity of a house.
Abraham.
Yeah, leaves it to his nephew.
Yes, his nephew. Yeah.
Played by Tony. Is it Schloob? The lovable monk.
Yeah, I've always said Schlaub.
Yeah, we'll say it's Schloob because it is
Schlaub.
Schloob, yeah. Rolls off the lips. So he leaves him that, and then we start to so slowly figure out that this house might actually be a haunted house, or something of that nature. So again, it's based on a 1960s film, which is 13 Ghosts, which in that film, I think the gimmick at the time was you wore glasses, 3D glasses, whatever it was at the time, and you could see the ghosts that were like frightening the main characters. And in this film, you see the characters wear glasses to see the ghosts. So I suppose it is a nice little touch. That is kind of something to go back to, the original. But that's as far as I'll say. That's a nice little touch, I think, probably throughout the entirety of this review.
Yeah.
So the cast and crew, we have obviously Tony Schloob. He's the main character. He plays Arthur Kritikos, I think.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a down on the luck dad whose wife's passed away, and he's trying to make ends meet. He's got a young son. He's got a daughter who's about 30. Shannon Elizabeth from American Pie films, and I don't know. He's stupid.
It's down on his luck, but they can afford a living babysitter, so it seems.
Yeah, and I'll come back to that individual because that is so irritating. But yeah, Shannon Elizabeth is a usual anything between 21 and 33.
Yeah.
And then the kid's like between 8 and 12, and he's just like obsessed with death, and he's like the straight shooter, like, oh yeah, my mum died in a fire, oh yeah, nice one, kid. Have some tagged. And they essentially are joined by Matthew Lillard, playing the, for a better word, psychic, who can interact with the ghost, and he was kind of working with F. Murray Abraham, and he's the villain of the piece, and he's there to put this whole plot together. He's there to capture all these ghosts so then he can open a dimension to control things and stuff. I phase out, and I'm not sorry if I've got bits of that wrong. We've also got, is it Embeth Davids, and I think people obviously know her a lot from Matilda and stuff.
Bicentennial Man and Army of Darkness.
Yeah, Army of Darkness. Sheila. Yeah. And she plays a ghost activist.
Yeah, it's so, I don't know. I mean, if we just go to the opening scene, because I think this would just really sort of set that tone for these characters, because almost all the characters are introduced straight away.
Yes.
So that does mean players. So we've got F. Murray Abraham. They appear in this junkyard, and with Matthew Lillard's character, they're hunting down this ghost called the Juggernaut, which right at the start they've said that anyone who enters this junkyard, he kills. These spirits are malevolent. They I think they had something like 9 deaths in the last month or something ridiculous like that. Yeah. So, they're trapping him at this point for unknown purposes. And then, out of nowhere, Embeth Davids turns up with her boyfriend or husband to stop these people from catching these ghosts. And it's almost like, it's like Ghost Piece. It's like Greenpeace for the spirit world. And it just, straight away you sort of bombarded, like your senses are bombarded because the editing's so, it's so quick, flashy, in your face. You don't quite get a grasp on these characters other than, and obviously, like, films are supposed to have exposition and stuff like that, but straight away you just sort of told, Emma Davies is some kind of peace worker for ghosts, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Especially as we know that these ghosts are killing people.
Yeah. Matthew Lillard is, you get the impression that whatever happens to him, he's like an empath. He touches people. He gets visions of their futures and pasts and everything. But it causes him great pain to do so.
Good.
So just sort of like, and then it does sort of, it jumps everywhere. Abraham dies, seemingly. And that obviously that's where the whole sort of this sleazy lawyer winds up at Tony Schlaub's house to say that they've got this house. So you're introduced to all the main players within the first 10 minutes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Would say
10 minutes.
Yeah. And then bang straight to the house. It kind of just feels like there was such a rush to do an introduction to get to the house. You never really feel like these characters, and by all means, in their own right, I mean, should be in better roles.
Mm-hmm.
They're all capable of better work, and Lillard, he's coming off. I think he's coming off of the Scream. He's not quite, and people take the piss about the live action Scooby-Doo film, but he was no perfect as Shaggy in that. That to me was his calling. That was and I like the guy. I do like the guy, but he's just so. There's no filter to him whatsoever, and it's a shame because, like I said again, they're all just so worthy of better roles. But like I said, when they get to the house, and it's without sort of unknowingly. The lawyer sets off the mechanism that the house starts shifting around, and it's just Lillard comes in and he's pretended to be a electrician, checking everything to make his way into the house because essentially he's owed money, and he saw something when he touched Stephen Abraham that makes him concerned. He wants to try and shut down whatever's happening in this house, this gateway to hell. And he just becomes overly annoying about it. There's so much, rather than being, he's the only person who says, who knows what's going on and is pleading with people to get their house, which is great. But I don't know. I can't get past his character just constantly whining.
Yeah, he's. Yeah, he is. He's absolutely just whines, and I think as well as an audience, we have to. How many times do we have to know that he's in pain?
Oh yeah, and everything comes with when the ghosts come along. Everything comes with this metallic clang. Yeah. So and it happens literally every time an apparition's on the screen, and it just. I don't think it ever really gives the cast time to expand on the roles. You never really get to care about them because so much other shit's going off.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of its biggest crimes is that if you put in, a decent cast together like that, then, they're wasted.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
On that material. So.
Well, I mean, one of my biggest complaints is that the characters just fucking idiots. Like you said, they're struggling, and straight away they've obviously got zero character development. The dad is a bit of an asshole, but you can imagine that with having kids and stuff, stressed without telling it that he blows a bit of the kid. I get it. But Shannon Elizabeth's like, we can't have an ass. Everything, it's like you've lost your mum. Like, give the guy a break. But my biggest problem is, like you said, they can afford a living nanny kind of babysitter. But there's two things. Number one, she sat there with her hair, like curling her hair, letting the daughter wait on her to make her breakfast, like trying to undermine everything with jokes. And then when they're about to sign for the house and talk about all the nitty-gritty details, he's telling them to stay put in a place, and she's watching the youngest son, and she instead of saying, let's, I'm here to look after you guys, stay here, she's the one that leads them off. Like she's got the zero attention span, and then she comes back and it's like, with the kid, and it's like, sorry. It's like, for fuck's sake, it's like, you must feel like he's adopted another kid.
It's overly incompetent. I don't know whether they did it for humour. I don't know if she was supposed to be the levity character, but she just came across as fucking stupid. And it's just like you said, when there's supposed to be a kid in her care, and it just, like you said, that the way she jumps for joy when they realise that they're inherited mansion, like she's got some kind of stake in that. Going back to the none of the characters really have, other than F. Murray Abraham. Obviously his motivation is collecting these 13 ghosts. Matthew Lillard is now there from catching the ghosts to now warning them about these ghosts. And other than that, no one seems to have any kind of motivation to be in this film. There's no no big story arcs for anyone. There's no progression for these characters. I feel, going back to Embeth Davis, I feel sorry for her because 10 years before this film came out, what was it, 2001, did you say?
Yeah.
So less than 10 years, she was in Schindler's List.
Yeah.
Which is, it's at the start of her career, such a highlight, but then to sort of be almost reduced to a character whose motivations change throughout, but for no fucking reason.
Let's face it, she's nothing but an extended cameo.
Yeah, she turns up and it's like, right, I'm here to save the ghosts, and then out of nowhere, she changes allegiances.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, there's no full-on explanation why. It's just, I don't know. Honestly, I do not know. I do not know why she turns from being good to being bad, only to get killed off. And then we look at the ghosts themselves, and they make a big play about this book that has all the plans, what the 13 ghosts are supposed to be. And it's beautiful. I've talked about this. The highlight for me is this book. Beautiful design work, beautiful sort of like ink on parchment sort of sketches and stuff like that. And the designs that I don't know whether they were supposed to go out and get ghosts to represent these 13.
Yeah.
Sort of 13 ghosts that they've got come close with. But the design work never, the actual practical effects never meet these original design work. And the design work is so much more subtle and simpler in a lot of ways.
Well, it's like the Juggernaut. If you when I was last watching it, I paused it when he's picking up the car in the junkyard to kill somebody, totally by accident, because well, not by accident, but totally just paused it, and it stopped on that because I went to for a refreshment break and stuff. Yes, 2 minutes in, I went for a refreshment break. That shows you how bad it is. And if you were to look at it, the design's not frightening. It's something you'd see. Maybe it looks like a steroid version of Lurch from the Addams Family.
Yes,
it's something that the makeup is like a bluey kind of. It's shot in light, in a harsh lighting for makeup. They look like exaggerated cartoon characters, and and it just, like, for the character, the jackal, that's kind of like head in a box, scratching long nails, kind of. Yeah. It's at odds with what it is. And then, one of the, spoiler, but one of the ghosts is actually Tony Shalhoub's wife. Yeah. Why is she not vicious? Why, like, there's no explanation behind why they're needed, like you said. It's ridiculous.
I know people can't see this because I'm going to show you this. You should be able to see this, but Juggernaut, it's the creeper from Scooby-Doo.
Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. And the thing is, I've seen a lot of people saying that they don't like the film, but they love the ghost designs and they love the backstories and stuff. Well, I've listened to some of the backstories and I'm still not impressed. So we've got the guy who's the the jock. We see him a couple of times. He's got a baseball bat.
Yeah.
He's supposed to have had a love affair and been stood up and then died in a car accident. Like, okay, like I'm sorry, but 13's a lot to have. Even if they made a film that did do credit to the backstories and stuff, 13 of them.
Yeah. I mean, why would that specifically, if that's his background story, why would that make him violent towards other people?
Exactly.
It doesn't make he goes around sort of bashing people with a bat, and that's it. I don't. You've got like obviously the jackal it's got a head cage on, so it's definitely some kind of 19th century asylum patient, some crazy patient, obviously, and it does do terrible. It rips at people. These ghosts can physically interact with people and stuff like that. But I think it all comes. The big problem is, like you said, and you said this before we started doing this, was like the baby guy. They don't do anything. Certainly these ghosts, they play them up, but half of them literally do not do anything. But you still get that. Yeah, but you still get that fucking headache-inducing metal clanging noise anytime they turn up, and I just. It comes across as really lazy that they're advertising this film literally 13 ghosts, but they should have called it 13 ghosts, but only half of them actually do something. Only 2 of them are remotely interesting, and you'll still not care at the end of it.
It's a bit of a mouthful for a title, but I like it better than 13een Ghosts, mate.
Yeah.
So
It's just be called Shit Show.
It is one of the worst horror films I've seen because it clearly has a talented cast. And it has a budget, and like you said, going back to the scrapyard at the beginning, you've just got this kind of mixture between a shaky cam and like a football or a sporting game or a match or something like that, when the crowd's cheering, you get this kind of shaky effect slightly because obviously people are jumping up next to it and rocking like the stadium. It's like that mixed with the Evil Dead cam, and then like the title comes across in like orange lettering, and it's like sound effects for the title coming on screen. I mean, it's just like, it's literally like someone's said, okay, we know people these days can't concentrate. That's what it feels like. So let's make a sound effect for everything.
It reminds me of that. There's openings how it's shot, and it's like how, like. Battle footage, and Peter Jackson does it a lot. The camera gets right in there, and it's like shaking about. It's like you're part of the action, and I don't mind it for a little bit, but I prefer to see static fighting shots. Not always, but I do. I like a good mixture. But this is shot as if you're within that action all the time. Yeah. And then it's such a bombardment on your senses to begin with that. For me, I was just like, you've already taken me out of it slightly, because I'm trying hard, my best to take it in because I want to watch it for this review and everything. But I just, you've already put me off. And it's so, you said this the other day, it's so 90s music video. Yeah. In the way it's shot. It's like you said this, right? It's got a budget, but it looks like it's being shot on the cheap.
Yeah,
and that's a feat. That's an amazing feat in itself.
It is. It is. Yeah. It's ridiculous because I think this was one of the 3 first Dark Castle films. It was House on Haunted Hill, this, and then Ghost Ship, if I believe. Now my favourite out there is House on Haunted Hill, and none of them are perfect by any means, but this seems to be the one that's like people go, this is the highlight of the 3, and. I just don't see it. I mean, for people who've not seen the poster for the film or the cover art, it is a woman, maybe Shannon Elizabeth, maybe not, but it's like made up of pictures to represent her, and it's just what, why, how, no resemblance. If her face had been made out of glass, I could have gone, get it.
Yeah. Let's talk about, because I think this is the big crux of it. Let's talk about those glasses. because this is the big issue. I again, like I said, I appreciate the gimmick from the original film, and they even had the producer at the start of the original. He comes on before the film even starts. He's sat behind a desk, and it's like, "Oh, hello there. You're about to watch 13 Ghosts. But before we go in, you'll find on your seat these glasses, and it's just 2 strips of cellophane on a ghost." And he turns around and he says, if you believe in ghosts, whenever the screen turns blue, hold this up to your eyes and you'll see the ghost. If you don't believe in ghosts, looking through the top bar and you won't see the ghost. So he just explains that a couple of times. But says, but only do it when the screen turns blue. And that's what using colour filters. It's a nice idea. It's a clever idea. I imagine it worked really well in the theatre back then.
Fantastic.
But there's a house completely full of scripture, spells etched into the glass, protecting there's runes, and there's this huge symbol on the floor. There's all this supernatural stuff going on that they could easily just explain with it's necromancy, it's special magic, it's whatever. We've got glasses where you can see ghosts, but there's not one single fucking explanation of how they work or why they work.
Yeah.
You're just given Matthew Lillard's wearing them at the start.
Yeah.
And you're told what they do, and that's it.
Yeah.
Literally, it's
Nothing.
just that it's like he's wearing the Google Glass, specs.
Yeah.
And with a couple of LEDs on it, and apparently they make you see ghosts.
Well, this is the thing. This is why I said it feels like a music video. It just feels like it's trying to get. It's almost like the director was given the film and he thought, "Fuck this! I'm shooting it once, one take, everything. We've not explained the glasses. Fuck the glasses."
Yeah,
it feels like no one wanted to be there. It's
such an important part of the story. It's such an important part of the film.
Well, we see the scripture stands out and glows when they're in their glasses. Does none of these idiots go, "What the fuck is this?" There's an house that looks like a piece of shit, right? That honestly, Salvador Dali would probably get an headache from looking at it, right? Yeah. I know they want a bigger house, the family do, and there's been this tragedy, but they kind of appear like desperate money grabbers. And it's not a good look for your main cast because you don't get the context. You don't see them. They don't earn your sympathy.
Yeah.
So it just, and if I was that desperate and came to that house, I'd be like, middle of nowhere, young family, completely no privacy. Text all over the floor, like you said, mechanical parts whirring all around the house. Like, what is going off? It's just way too quickly, and it's a monstrosity. It's a shithole. It's a shit show. I think you were right, and I think the film never ever gets started because it just doesn't give a shit and respect you enough to explain it.
Yeah.
Are there any highlights for you? I mean, Tony Shalhoub for me and F. Murray Abraham and Matthew Lillard all show they can act, in my opinion. Yeah. So
that's it. I think that's it. I think the highlight is that they managed to get such a good cast together, but straight onto the con side, it's like they never give them anything to do. F. Murray Abraham, he's just chewing up every bit of scenery he's got, and up to the point where his character returns at the end, and they make this whole play. And I said this the other day, I don't understand it, because in the junkyard it's led to believe that he's dead, and he gets a bit of metal through his neck. So when he turns up, he's got this scar on his neck, and there's a whole thing with wearing the glasses. Is he actually there? Is he not? Whatever. But I don't get that he's walking around. I don't know whether it's supposed to represent that he's doing it to fool people. Yeah. That he is dead to scare them or whatever, but then he announces that he's not really dead anyway, so it seems pointless that he's walking around with this massive gash in his neck when it didn't really happen. I just, but I would say the design, like I said, the book, the design of the book is probably the highlight, seeing that and the potential for what these 13 Ghosts, even after we've seen the Juggernaut already, after we've seen the Creeper from Scooby-Doo, We've seen these brilliant design works, and like the torso, which I said about before, was the head and no legs and everything, but then they completely fucked that up. Anyway, it's just it doesn't. It doesn't stand up to itself. It sets you these. Oh, we've got these. Look at these great designs, these great characters, and everything. They're quite they could be quite scary on camera and stuff like that. And then they just ignore it. And it's like the art department were working in two different rooms and not communicating with the looks. You had makeup absolutely. And the prop maker, and going, oh, so what are you doing today, Jim? Oh, well, I'm designing the torso. Oh, great, yeah. I don't need to know how it's going. I'm not going to let you influence what I'm doing over here.
Yeah.
And it ruins it. And other than that, I can't. Because my mind goes straight to the cons. And if you don't mind me saying, one of my biggest...
No, go for it. I've not got one.
One of my biggest head fucks is that they talk about how violent these ghosts are. They've all seen how violent and horrible these ghosts can be. But then they fucking let them go off into the night at the end. They free them.
Yeah.
The jackal's literally ripped Tony Shalhoub's daughter is being ripped to shreds by the jackal, but they're quite happy to let them go and dance off into the darkness.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Oh, it's all right. You're not our problem anymore. Go and kill a couple of people. Juggernaut, go back to
pillage away.
That's it. Yeah. You go back to. They should have done a couple of shots where they went back to the home. Juggernaut went and sat back in his fucking junkyard waiting for. Yeah. Someone to turn up to kill. They should have seen them happy back where they were. Because that's the only way to fucking end it. You're just giving them an out, a complete out. And I don't get how that's just when you're building them up to be these horrible, vicious, violent characters. That's an acceptable end, and they're okay with it.
It's like everything. I don't think any thought went into it. Honestly, mate, I don't feel they sat and even reviewed the script. I think they just thought, we've got this film. This is what it's going to do. We need to get it filmed. Let's go. Maybe some guy went, oh, what about this bit? You've got this. What's your name? Bob. What are you? Oh, you're the one. Oh, yeah, you're fired. It feels like there's no accountability because nobody really gave a shit. That's what it feels like. I mean, I've read a bit over the years of the shooting script, and it's almost word for word. And this is what I want to say to you. The glasses are never explained, not even a line of dialogue in this shooting script.
Right.
But we get 3 paragraphs explaining that Embeth Davis, when she's crushed, it explains that what she feels like when she's getting squashed by the walls when F. Murray Abraham turns on her. It talks about her breasts being flat. Why? Right. Some pervert writing the script talks about that you hear a skull crack and blood. It's quite a more grisly death than what it appeared on screen. So we get a 3-paragraph explanation of somebody getting crushed, but we don't get fuck all about glasses.
No.
That to me shows exactly, it is byproduct of the time. It's like, we spoke a little bit when we spoke about the original Arsenal Haunted Hill. Arsenal Haunted Hill especially, as this is the film that followed on from Dark Castle, is a very flawed film in my opinion. But it also, because of it's like the time when CGI was open for everybody, and there's it took away a lot of the tension, but that film had some artistic merit. That film had some great performances, and that film tried to do something. This film is what would happen if somebody just said, it's kind of the people that aren't really into movies and stuff like that, when they're like, oh yeah, I'll watch something. It's kind of their interpretation of, if they got money, anyone can make a film. It's just pointing a camera at something. This feels like someone that doesn't like films was given this money, and they just go, you want me to point a camera at that? Okay. There is honestly, I can't explain it more. There is no thought that's gone into this film. The only thought was the ghosts, and that's, like you said, clearly by 2 different departments that don't see eye to eye with each other, or there was a language barrier, moron barrier, whatever, I don't know. But it does have a nice core little audience, and I never understand why.
each their own. Honestly, I don't, I'm not going to pull people down for enjoying it. People enjoy different things for different reasons. It's just
You weirdos. No, I'm joking.
but I do, like you. I don't get the love for it.
No.
I really don't, and
I did, when I watched it this time, I did think to myself that when anybody asks me what my worst horror film is, people don't even have to ask now, they know it's 13 Ghosts. I thought to myself, why is that though? And I think maybe it is because I don't even think it's wasted potential. I think it's just the fact that it's just insulting. It just doesn't give a shit about it. And I know some people just don't care about that stuff, but when it's literally every major plot point, every major player, every major kind of, well, anything in the film, even bits of dialogue, like you said, the ending, we've rescued our family, we've saved the day, we've escaped the house, all these ghosts we've let out, and they're just walking off, and we've just turned a blind eye. Like you said, great, apply that to any other film. Yeah. Give Shawshank Redemption that kind of shit ending. Give fucking Jaws that kind of shit ending. Watch people be pleased or not give a shit then.
Yeah, it's just madness. I don't know. Yeah, I say each their own, but it's not something I'm ever going to revisit, and I'm glad it's done.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you if there was. I know you've said there's not a highlight, but I mean, even thinking about, like, usually we can even say this performance, or there's a great quote or something profound, and I just don't think there is. I'm a fan of F. Murray Abraham. I'm a fan of Tony Shalhoub. I don't mind Matthew Lillard, even though it can be very annoying. But I just struggle to find any redeeming feature whatsoever.
My highlight is that it reminded me that how much I love 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. And that they made a film recently to finish off, because they finished the series before they found 13th Ghost. So it'll just make me want to go out and watch that. Obviously, the great late Vincent Price isn't a part of that, but I'll give it a go.
Yeah,
it'll be a lot more entertaining than 13 Ghosts.
Yeah. If you like it, fair play to you. Also got some beans I can trade you for a cow. But I'm not even going to... The recommendation, it's not from me. I wouldn't recommend this one bit. I can't. It's at odds with itself. That's the best I can say to it. Every little bit of it. It's like getting a pick and mix sweets. That's what it feels like. It's like spending 50p back in the day, emptying your bag on there, and you've got blue tack, drawing pins, staples, and you're like, which one should I eat first? Well, they're all shit. That's what it feels like. That's the sum of the film to me. It's just nothing that you want. Where to watch? You know what? I didn't even care. I didn't even care to go out and find it yourselves. It's I think it's on. Is it on Shudder or something like that? Yeah, actually, I think it is. Yeah. It's a separate subscription service. But yeah, so I take it you're equally not going to recommend this film.
No, I think if people who've seen it and they like it, they've already made them out. Great, happy for them. If you've not seen it, I won't bother. But if you want to join in and sort of find out why we don't like it as much, then that's probably the only reason to watch it. Is to try and understand why we dislike it so much. But again, I know this is probably one of those ones that we do when people are probably quite passionate about and might sort of go in the comments, well, you're talking bollocks. Well, that's fair enough. But I'd rather be honest with everyone and say it's dog shit than
absolutely.
Pick it up, but I don't need to. So
no, I can't disagree with anything you've said. It's just you could only probably watch it if you were having a bit of an Halloween party and you were there to take the piss out of it, like do a drinking game to it, or just laugh at how bad it is. It's got a Metacritic score of 30, and the late great Roger Ebert gave it 1 star, and he said it's the loudest movie he's ever seen and the worst movie he's ever seen. So it is as bad.
Yeah.
It's I think maybe it's a bit late, like I said, early 2000s, late 90s. Maybe it fooled a few people with flashy effects and quick pace and fast paced stuff.
Yeah.
But I think the film gets away. I don't think you put it on today. I don't think it gets away with any of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you don't mind, mate, I'd like everybody to subscribe. That'd be beautiful. That'd act like my mental bleach to wash away these horrible memories. Like, subscribe, share. That'd be absolutely fantastic. So I can go and enjoy my bath with a toaster. So Dan, as always, thank you so much for joining me. Many apologies for you having to watch that film. And I'll never forgive myself for watching it. So I'd like to close the vault, if that's okay with you.
Yes, mate, yeah.
And I think what we need to do is build another vault in this vault, and that stays in its own separate vault, never to be opened again.
And fire it off to the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks, guys. If you've enjoyed it, let us know. Any recommendations, any requests, anything you want to challenge us on, great, go for it. And if you do enjoy the film, fair play to you. All kidding aside and stuff, I genuinely do hate it. But it is each to their own. And if there's anything you've got to add to conversation, let us know.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah. Right. Thank you very much, Dan.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Let's get this vault closed forever.
Good night, mate.
Good night.